This is your Barbados Today morning news update for Tuesday, May 28, 2019. Thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Williams. Barbadians could soon be paying more for local vegetables. A farming area that's a major supplier is facing serious problems, including water shortage. Water in the wells that supply the Spring Hall land lease project in St. Lucie is at critically low levels. The situation is compounded by a threat of eviction of delinquent farmers by the Barbados Agricultural Development and Marketing Corporation. Several of the farmers haven't been able to pay their bills, blaming this on low production.
Outside is so dry. You have cucumbers, for example, that plant was going to be scorched. You have sweet peppers. I see a lot of farmers have lost sweet peppers. They let the bottom literally dry up.
People just see it as the farmers, but we have to consider that we have employees that are very much affected right now by this whole situation, and they need to take all of this into consideration. We are losing crops, and in a significant way. I believe that by the time this is all over, that most of us are going to be in a ditch further than what we are right now, and we cannot meet what government is requiring of us to do.
The farmers held an urgent meeting yesterday with CEO of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, and President of the Barbados Vendors Association, Alistair Alexander. Alexander is calling for a meeting with authorities.
They are supposed to be evicted
conditions,
right, from these premises, from these lands.
What's the reason given for evicting the farmers from the land?
They are saying that they have a debt that they have to pay, right? And the debt, Barbados is very clear that the debt has occurred because of government negligence, government neglecting this project, right?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, government negligence as far as this project is concerned, and there's successive administrations.
Declaring that he was previously unaware of the situation, BAS CEO Paul also called for dialogue.
I am sure that if the farmers had the money to pay the bills, that they would pay them. And there must be a reason why, for instance, even in terms of the practice in the past, that these bills were the way they are. I believe that there needs to be discussion. I really want to say, I'm pleased to see Mr. Alexander from Barbados being here, because he is skilled in these matters as far as negotiations are concerned. Okay, but I really think, and I think we could utilize his experience as far as that is concerned too, because we really need to understand what are the reasons why these things happen. Let us try to fix them, because it makes no sense. And I want to say this very frankly. You might threaten these farmers with eviction. You might bring new farmers. But if you don't solve the underlying problems that led to where we are today, you will get a repeat in maybe a 20 or 30 years time. Right? In fact, it might not even be that long. So I want to say that these type of threats don't solve anything.
On to other news, Prime Minister Mia Mottley is calling on multilateral organizations to reconsider their approach to determining who gets concessional funding. She argues that global politics and poor relations have been allowed to creep in, and instead suggests there's need for a moral and ethical discussion.
The notion of climate refugees is well known to us here in the region. But then again, we're not buttressed by the comfort that migration is a major topic of importance for the world. Because when it comes to people, it becomes a no-no. But when it comes to the movement of capital and investment, it becomes highly accepted and desired by the majority of countries in the world. There is need for a moral and ethical discussion across the global landscape. And it is our contention that it is only when moral and ethical leadership is given, both at the national level and at the international level, that we will summon the courage to fight down these battles.
Mottley says Barbados has found itself having to carry out infrastructure work at highly prohibitive costs, even as the country battles its economic challenges. She explains that replacing the water infrastructure alone will cost the country close to $2.5 billion.
We have been told, for example, in our own country, that with the 2,500 kilometers of pipe that we have, the majority of which has to be replaced, at a price that we are fighting, coming close to $1 million per kilometer, that it would be a mammoth task of virtually 25% of our GDP to simply seek to replace the water infrastructure without reference to what we must invest in augmentation of water resources as we confront the reality of being a water-scarce country in this world. This has nothing at all to do with our ability to meander through and to navigate through our otherwise difficult and perilous economic circumstances.
Motley was speaking at the opening of the Understanding Risk Caribbean Conference at the Barbados Museum and Historical Society yesterday.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In Trinidad and Tobago, there is growing concern about the situation at a secondary school. As we hear in the CNC3 report, the students are said to be using the classrooms to gamble, sell drugs, and engage in sexual behavior.
For parents of students of the Siparia West Secondary School, there is another thing they need to worry about, and that is if their child is going to come home safely to them at the end of the day.
Incidents like these have become more frequent at the school. Students who spoke with CNC3 indicated that these fights were the results of gang-like behavior at the school. Almost every other day, we are told violent incidents occur because a student may look at someone the wrong way. But these fights become extremely dangerous. A school source said students would smuggle weapons such as knives and cutlasses into the school by tossing them over fences. A few months ago, Form 3 student Kenyatta Taylor almost lost some of his fingers after he was chopped by another student in a classroom. His mother did not want to go on camera but told CNC3 how the incident happened.
He went into another classroom because the teacher didn't come, and apparently like the next class teacher wasn't there. He went in another classroom, which they were gambling in that classroom. And the boy went up in the ceiling and took out a chopper and fire chop at him.
Internationally, Sudan's alliance of opposition and protest groups plan to push ahead with a general two-day strike starting today. The strike will encompass public and private sector enterprise, including civil aviation, railway, petroleum, banking, communications, and health sectors. Talks are at a standstill after weeks of negotiations over who will have the upper hand after the ouster of longtime President Omar al-Bashir last month. If an agreement isn't reached, protest organizers plan to call for an open strike and indefinite civil disobedience until power is handed to civilians. And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook. And sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Carol Williams. Have a good day.